Hello students. So now we are talking about we'll be discussing our next topic, that is the analysis of a doubly reinforced section. Now what is a doubly reinforced section first of all? So last video I told you something about a singly reinforced section. So what was a singly reinforced section? In which reinforcement is provided only on tension side. Okay, so what do we mean by this? If we are taking a simply supported beam, because due to this load, the beam is going to bend like this, so it means the tension is going to come at the bottom. So that's why in the cross section we provided reinforcement at the bottom. Okay, if we had a cantilever beam subjected to certain loading, I know the cantilever beam is going to bend like this, so it means now tension is at the top, so it means the reinforcement for a cantilever beam will be at the top as the tension reinforcement. So it means singly reinforced beam is the beam in which the reinforcement is provided only on the tension side. Whereas now on the compression side also, if we provide the reinforcement, then we are calling that beam as a doubly reinforced beam. So in doubly reinforced beams, the reinforcement is provided both at the tension side and on the compression side as well. Okay. Now what is the necessity of having such a beam? First is sectional dimensions are restricted. So it means you cannot increase the depth of the section. If you cannot increase the depth of the section, you want the section to resist certain specific moment, then you will have to increase the reinforcement and you will have to make the beam doubly reinforced beam. Continuous beam. Why in continuous beam we require a doubly reinforced section? Because if you look at a continuous beam, it is something of this type. You are having supports somewhere in between. So it means its bending moment diagram will be something of this type. So it means it is positive in certain location, it is negative in certain location. At the negative side you will have the reinforcement provided at the top. At the positive bending moment, because it is bending like this particular system, you will have major reinforcement at the bottom. So sometimes you are providing the major reinforcement at the bottom, then at this point you will require the reinforcement at the top. So it means there is a reversal of reinforcement requirement. So what we do is we continue this particular reinforcement at the support also with some minimum value. Similarly, we continue this reinforcement at top with certain minimum value. So it means we will require a doubly reinforced section to cater this kind of bending moment diagram. Okay. Then we require this to reduce deflection. We require doubly reinforced sections to improve ductility of the beam. The more reinforcement we are providing, the more ductile the system will be. So we are trying to improve the ductility of the beam. Now how do we analyze such a beam? Analysis of this beam is very simple. All you have to follow is just the basic rules. See, I am talking about a doubly reinforced beam. So what will be the designations? The area that you are providing on tension side will be called AST. The area of steel that you are providing on compression side will be called ASC. Width of the beam will be B. Effective depth of the beam, that is from the center of tension reinforcement to the top of the beam, it is D. Okay. The cover to compression reinforcement will be written as D dash. The total overall depth will be written as capital D. Is it okay? We will be finding out the neutral axis. Strain diagram will be similar to whatever we have done in singly reinforced. So this is the strain diagram. Now in this strain diagram, we already know that this value is going to be 0.0035. The strain at the point where you are providing compression reinforcement will be called epsilon SC. Okay? And the strain where we are providing the tension reinforcement will be called epsilon ST. Clear? Then the stress diagram, it will be for the concrete, I know it is parabola. So forces taken by concrete will be called Cc. We all know that its value will be 0.36 FCK XU into B. Okay? The stress taken by the compression steel, this force will be FSC into ASC. Isn't it? The tensile force will be taken only by tensile steel. It will be FST AST. Is it okay? Clear? Now I want to find out the moment carrying capacity, that is moment of resistance. For finding out the moment of resistance in singly reinforced sections, we already know our first step was calculate XU, and then based upon the value of XU, we will calculate the moment of resistance. Okay? Now how do we calculate XU? We calculate XU by making C is equal to T. Compressive forces is equal to tensile forces. Compressive force is 0.36 FCK XU into B plus FSC ASC. This is the total compressive force. This is equal to FST AST. Okay? Now in this equation, I know FCK, I know B, I do not know the value of XU. I even do not know how much is stress in steel at the compression zone. I do not even know what is the stress in steel at the tension zone. I know how much is ASC, I know how much is AST. So what is my first assumption? I'll assume that both have yielded. If both have yielded, I'll write this equation as 0.87 Fy ASC. This is equal to 0.87 Fy AST. So I'm assuming that both have reached the yielding, so both the values are 0.87 Fy. Okay? Now once I have done this, I'll find out the value of XU. If my value of XU is less than XU limiting, so it means it is an under reinforced section. If it is an under reinforced section, the tensile steel has already yielded, so the assumption that FST has yielded is correct. So if this is less than that, it means tensile steel has yielded, and assumption that FST is equal to 0.87 Fy is correct. Is it okay? Clear? Now, how do we find out that is my assumption that FSC has also yielded is correct? For that, I will be finding out epsilon SC. Find epsilon SC from similar triangles. Similar triangles. What do I mean by this? I know that this is 0.0035. I do not know how much is epsilon SC. I know that this is XU, which I have already found out in this equation. I know that this one is D dash. So I can easily say 0.0035 upon XU is equal to epsilon SC upon XU minus D dash. Okay, from this I know all the values. I'll be able to calculate epsilon SC. I'll compare that if epsilon SC is greater than epsilon Y, the strain at yielding, so it means compression steel has also yielded. So it means our assumption is correct. So it means whatever value we have calculated is correct. We can directly move on to calculate moment of resistance. Whereas if my epsilon SC is less than epsilon Y, it means my assumption is not correct. So therefore XU is not correct. Therefore I'll have to calculate XU by trial. So it means I cannot directly calculate the value of XU. I'll have to calculate it by trial. So it means if I reach here and my assumption is incorrect, I'll again have to go to this step. That is finding out XU. If my this assumption is not correct, again this step is not correct, I'll have to go here. But if all my steps are correct, my only concern is getting the correct value of XU. If by trials or by this original equation I am able to calculate the value of XU, once I have calculated the value of XU, I can easily find out moment of resistance. Second step is finding out moment of resistance. And how much will be moment of resistance? It will be, see, this is the compressive force. This is the lever arm for this compressive force. And this value I know is D minus 0.42 XU. Second compressive force is this. Lever arm for this is this one, that is D minus D dash. So it means total moment of resistance, it will be 0.36 FCK XU into B D minus 0.42 XU plus FSC ESC D minus D dash. It's very simple. All we have to do is force multiplied by the distance. I had this as a compressive force. The distance between this compressive force and the tensile force was D minus D dash. I had this as a compressive force of steel. The distance of this compressive force from the tensile force was D minus D dash. So this is whole thing I'll be able to calculate the moment of resistance. So it means there can be three possibilities. First possibility is this assumption, this becomes less than this. My assumption is okay. Then this also becomes greater than this. So my assumption is okay. So both the steps are okay. The tensile steel has yielded, the compressive steel has also yielded. I can directly move on to this step. Okay. But if my this assumption is correct, this is not correct, I'll have to go to the trial to get the value of XU. Once I get the value of XU, I'll again go to this step. Okay. Third possibility is my this assumption is not correct. Again, if this assumption is not correct, I'll have to go to the trial. Okay. Now, only thing that I do not know over here is how to calculate epsilon Y. How much is the value of epsilon Y? I have already told you in the code that this epsilon Y is taken as 0.87 Fy upon E for Fe250. If I have a steel Fe250, then epsilon Y will be taken as 0.87 Fy upon E. Okay. Whereas if I am having Fe415 or Fe500, then the epsilon Y value is 0.87 Fy upon E plus 0.002. So for comparison, either I'll be taking this value or I'll be taking this value. So it will be clear, more clear from the questions. Let's start with one numerical. First numerical is, I am having a doubly reinforced beam. Cross section of the beam is 300 by 600 is the overall depth. It is reinforced with 3 bars, 36 dia on tension side, and it is reinforced with 2 bars, 25 dia on compression side. We have a cover of 50 millimeters all along. Okay, we are using M20 concrete and Fe 250 steel. You are to find moment carrying capacity of the section. Capacity of the section. Now how do we do this? My first step is, before I really actually go into this, I will simply find out how much is AST, so that I will be requiring the values again and again. We are using 3 bars of 36 mm dia. So 3 into pi by 4 into 36 square. So this is coming out to be 3054 millimeters square. Similarly, I will be able to find out how much is the area that I am providing on compression side. This is 982 millimeters square. At this point only I will find out XU limiting. Because I am using Fe 250, I know the value of XU limiting will be 0.53 D. If you remember, in one of the videos I have told you that the value is 0.53 D for Fe 250. For Fe 415 the value was 0.48 D. Okay, so this is 0.53. Effective depth is, this is overall depth. I am providing a cover of 50, so effective depth is 550. So this into 550, this is 292 millimeters. So this is the add-on that I have already calculated. Okay, so what was the solution? What was step 1? Step 1 was calculate XU. How did we calculated XU? By making C is equal to T, that is 0.36 FCK XU into B plus 0.87 Fy into ASC. This is equal to 0.87 Fy into AST. Okay, I have assumed that on compression side as well as on tension side the system has yielded. Okay, so if I put the values, FCK is 20, XU I do not know, B is 300, Fy is 250, ASC is 982, this is 250, AST is 3054. I'm so sorry, this value is coming out to be, just a moment. Sorry, this is 2 bars of 25 dia, so that's why this is area is 982. Okay, so I'll solve this, I'll get the value of XU. So value of XU is coming out to be 208.6 millimeters. So what was the step? I'll compare this XU with XU limiting. If it is less than this, my tensile steel has yielded. Okay, so I'll compare this with XU limiting. XU limiting was 292, so this is less than XU limiting, so therefore section is under reinforced and tensile steel has yielded. So my first assumption is correct. Now let me see whether my second assumption is also correct. That is whether the compression steel has also yielded. So it means I am to check for yielding of compression steel. Now how do I check for yielding of compression steel? I'll find epsilon SC and compare it with epsilon Y. Okay. Now because I am using Fe4 250, epsilon Y will be 0.87 Fy upon E. That is, Fy is 250, E is 200 gigapascal. I'll convert it into megapascal. So this value is coming out to be 0.00109. So I'll find out epsilon SC. How do I find out epsilon SC? From this particular triangle, this is 0.0035, this value is 208.6, this is epsilon SC, this distance is 50. So it becomes epsilon SC upon 0.0035, this is equal to XU minus D dash upon XU. Put the values. Epsilon SC is coming out to be 0.00267. Compare this with this value. So this is greater than epsilon Y. So strain is greater than the yield strain. So it means compression steel has also yielded. So this is the most simple form in which both tension and compression steel has yielded. Our assumptions are correct on this side. Whatever the value of XU we have calculated is correct. So if the value is correct, my step 2 is simply calculate moment of resistance by using 0.36 FCK XU into B, D minus 0.42 XU plus FSC ASC, that is FSC is basically 0.87 Fy because it has yielded, into ASC into D minus D dash. So put all the values, what you will get will be the moment of resistance will be 315 kilonewton meter. So moment carrying capacity of this section is 315 kilonewton meter. So this is how we analyze a doubly reinforced section. Now this was a typical question in which both the assumptions came out to be correct. Let me talk about the next question. In next question I will try to take the data in which one of the assumption or both the assumptions are not correct. So let me simply talk about a second kind of beam in which I am having at the bottom 4 bars 25 dia. At the top I am having 2 bars 25 dia. Width of the section is 300 millimeters. Overall depth of the section is 700 millimeters. The cover to the reinforcement on both the sides is 45. We are using M20 and we are using Fe415 steel. You are to calculate moment of resistance. Okay. So let me quickly find out how much is AST. We are using 4 bars 25 mm dia. So it is coming out to be 1964 millimeters square. Similarly, ASC is coming out to be 982 millimeter square. Okay. See the value of D dash, the value of D is up till this point, this is 655. So what will be the value of XU limiting? It will be 0.48 D because we are using Fe415. So this is coming out to be 0.48 into 655. This is 314.4 millimeters. Okay, we'll start with the same thing as we had done earlier. That is, we'll go to step 1. We'll say find XU by comparing C is equal to T. Okay, that is 0.36 FCK XU into B plus 0.87 FY into ASC. This is equal to 0.87 FY into AST. This we have considered that both have yielded. Okay, put out the values. FCK is 20, XU I do not know, B is 300, FY is 415, ASC is 982. This is equal to into 1964. Get the value of XU. The value of XU is 164 millimeters. Compare this value with XU limiting. This is less than XU limiting. So therefore the section is under reinforced and the tensile steel has yielded. That is, the assumption that this on the right hand side I have taken 0.87 Fy is correct. Now I'll have to find out whether, check if compression steel has yielded. That is, find epsilon SC and compare with epsilon Y. What will be the value of epsilon Y here? It will be 0.87 Fy upon ES plus 0.002. Why 0.002? Because we are using Fe415. So put the values. So this epsilon Y is coming out to be 0.0038. Now I'll find out epsilon SC. Again, it's very simple. The same steps are going to follow. So this is 0.0035. XU I have calculated to be 164. At this it is epsilon SC and the cover was 45. So the equation that I'll get is 0.0035 upon epsilon SC is equal to 164 upon 164 minus 45. Get the value of epsilon SC. It is coming out to be 254. Now look at this value and compare the value with this. This is 0.003. Yielding would have occurred at 0.003. So it is 0.002. So this is less than epsilon Y. If this is less than epsilon Y, it means compression steel has not yielded. This is very important. Compression steel has not yielded. So the assumption that we took that this value is on the left hand side, it is 0.87 Fy is incorrect. So if this is incorrect, the calculated value of XU is also incorrect. So we will have to do the trials to get the actual value of XU. So how do we then start the trial? Then it means we are moving on to the trials. I am moving on to the trials. Trial 1. If this value is not correct, I'll start with the value of epsilon SC as the trial. So in the first trial, I'll assume epsilon SC to be 0.00254. That is the value that I got by this taking XU to be 164. I know the system is going to converge near this only. Okay? And then from this you calculate FSC. How do we calculate FSC? You remember in the last video I talked about table A. So this table A we will be almost using in most of the questions. So this is the table. You remember, I suppose, SP16. The table was here. It was giving you the value of strain and stress. Now my strain that I am assuming is, the strain that I am assuming is 0.00254. So it means it is lying between 0.00241 and 0.00276. So it means the stress will lie between 342.8 and 351.8. So by linear interpolation, I'll be able to get the value of FSC in this zone. Okay. So corresponding to this, you calculate FSC by trial. Okay. So I am calculating FSC. It will be 342.8 plus 351.8 minus 342.8 upon 0.00276 minus 0.00241 into 0.00254 minus 0.00241. I hope you remember in the previous video I told you this is the strain, this is stress. Strain in the table is 0.00241 and 0.00276, and the stress was 342.8 and 351.8. So by linear interpolation, I have calculated strain at 0.00254 by using this procedure. Okay, so strain is coming out to be, stress is coming out to be 346.14 megapascal. So it means now you have the stress, you know the formula was 0.36 FCK XU into B plus FSC ASC is equal to FST AST. I know it has already yielded. So on right hand side I will write same value, but on left hand side I have converted. I have, instead of writing 0.87 FY, I have written FSC. So put the values. FSC is 346.14, ASC is 982, FY is 415, this is 1964. Calculate the value of XU. Okay. Again it is less than XU, limiting. So on right hand side the assumption is correct. Find out epsilon SC as we have done initially by using this particular system, this system. So I have done it previously. Find out epsilon SC, it is coming out to be 0.00258. Okay. From this you take this value as for the next trial. Then find out FSC again by using the same table, table A. Find out FSC. Then calculate the refined value of XU. Again the same equation. The next value of XU is coming out to be 170. So you can see your first trial that you took, the value was 170.9. You went on to the second cycle. The refined value of XU is coming out to be 170.5 millimeters. So it is converging at 170 only. So it means we will take this to be final value. We will say okay, this is the value of XU. Once I have got the value of XU, I will go to step 2, that is calculating moment of resistance. So the formula was 0.36 FCK XU into B minus 0.42 XU plus FSC ASC D minus D dash. So it is FCK is 20, XU is 170.5, B is 300, 655 minus 0.42 into 170.5 plus FSC is 347. The FSC was the value that I'll get from this cycle. So this is coming out to be 347 into 982 into 655 minus 45. So the moment carrying capacity is 422 kilonewton meter. Okay, so I hope that you have understood that if the moment carrying capacity is to be calculated, any of the assumption goes wrong, then how to proceed. Okay. Similarly, I have done another question in which my first assumption will go wrong. I will not write down, I will just show you the question. Okay. I have this question. I have 300 by 600. The reinforcement is 3 bars 36 dia, upper is 2 bars 25. You are having this M20 and 415 and you want to find out moment carrying capacity. Okay. Now, first thing was I assumed both are equal. If both are equal, I'll find out XU by C is equal to T. So I'll put the values here as we have done it in the previous question. My value is coming out to be 346. Now I'll compare this with XU limiting. XU limiting is 0.48D. It is 264. So my XU is greater than 264. Therefore, the section is over reinforced. Tensile steel has not yielded. So it means the assumption that we took in this equation is incorrect. So we'll have to get the actual value of XU by trial. Now the trial starts here itself. Now how do we do the trial? I'll have to try, over in the previous question I tried the value of epsilon s. Okay, and then I calculated the value of XU. If your first assumption goes wrong, then you try the value of XU only. Okay, so I am trying the value of XU. How am I trying the value of XU? You can start with any point, but where am I starting? For XU limiting, the value was 264. The value that I got from this incorrect value is 346. So I am trying somewhere in between. Okay, so my first trial is I am trying XU to be this value 305. Okay, now with this XU I need to calculate how much is FST, because even that is incorrect, and I'll have to calculate FSC. Now how do I calculate FST? Calculation of FST is again from the strains. I'll first of all calculate, see, I want FST and FSC both. I have taken XU to be 305 millimeters. So what I'll do is I will first of all find out FST, epsilon ST. How do I find out epsilon ST? By the same strain equations. Now instead of taking the strain here, I take this as 0.0035, this as XU, this is epsilon ST, this as D. So my equation becomes 0.0035 upon XU. This is equal to epsilon ST upon D minus XU. I know D, I have already assumed XU to be 305, I will be able to calculate epsilon ST. So I have calculated epsilon ST in this case, it is coming out to be 0.0028. Again by using the same table, table A, by linear interpolation I will be calculating FST. Okay, then same procedure I will apply to calculate epsilon SC from similar triangles, and then calculating FSC by using table A. Once I have calculated FST and FSC, I will be using it in the equation C is equal to T. See, I have used it here. FSC I have used 353, FST as 352. I will calculate the value of XU. I will use this value of XU and I will again calculate FST and FSC, and I will get the new value of XU. I will do this till the value of XU converges. See, in my first trial I took the value to be 305. I reached at the second trial, the value is 337. you will see the actual value at which the system will converge is 326. So it's very easy. You have to just do a cycling kind of system and you will be able to reach at a value that converges. Now once you get the correct value of XU, you will simply use that value in this equation of moment of resistance to get the value of moment of resistance. Is it okay? So this is the way we actually do the analysis of a doubly reinforced section. Clear? So next class, in the next video, I will be talking something about deflection. Okay? Thank you.